to become a rov. Then it won't be a shaila. But now you got to deal with it.
Grumbling.
Oh, yeah, let's see the Mishnah. Misha Hayadasa Shalosh Nashim. And no wonder, Umesh, and he died. So he married 3 women and he died. So now, the estate is liable to pay the ksuba for all 3 women. Umesh. So the Allah is ksubasa shalzu mana. What if each of these 3 women had different amounts of their ksuba? Ksubasa shalzu mana. Good morning, good morning. Let's see. Ksubasa shalzu mana. The wife number 1 had a ksuba of a mana. The shalzu masayim. The second wife was masayim. The shalzu shalosh meos. So each of the amounts of each of the 3 ksubas were different. But it doesn't really matter how much he promised them with their ksuba, because the ain't melamona. The whole estate only had a mana anyway. So it's just theoretical, because lemaisa, they don't have enough to pay out in full. Now this mana is meshubed equally to all 3 women. So therefore, cholkin b'shava, they split it evenly. Now the problem is, wouldn't you say that the woman who got married first, her shibud was first? The woman whose tshuba was written first, her shibud was first. So why do we say that it's cholkin b'shava? Why do they each have an equal share? Zok Rashi, shalzu mana v'shalzu masayim u'shloshan nechnemu b'yayim. We're talking about when all 3 ksubas have the same date on them. The ibetlos yomi, if each ksuba was signed on a different day, hakodemis b'shtar, kodemis b'givoy. So surely the shibud would be to the earliest ksuba. So we know that the ksuba only kicks in by nisuin, which means they must have all gotten married the same day. This guy must have had some busy day. He married 3 women in one day. Now he didn't marry them in the same ceremony because he married one after the other, but we don't put times of the day. So they all come with the time. So is that a normal thing to do, to marry 3 women in one day? The Rambam actually passes halacha l'maisa. It's a good thing to marry multiple women in one day. I'm not sure who you ask, but the Rambam says it's a good thing to marry multiple in one day. And in fact, they can have one set of shaver brachas for the chasna, which means that you don't have enough kibudim to go around. What? Right. Which means you don't have enough kibudim to go around. but there's one caveat. That's the chasna. But the shaver brachos, you have to have a separate shaver brachos for each color. So the first night he has one wedding, and then the rest of the week he has to be mishameich individually with each one. Could you imagine what it's hard enough to find people to make shaver brachos for 1 week? Can you imagine you need 3 sets of shaver brachos every day? Okay. Rashi says, shava b'shibud mana. In that mana, they all have equally shibud to that. The b'chulu ikamana, because all of their ksubas includes at least a mana. So now here's where it starts to get complicated. What happens if hayusha masayim? So let's think about it. If there was masayim, one woman only has access to a mana, right? Because her only mana. The other 2 have access to masayim. So what would you say logically? The way I would take logically is the mana should be split 3 ways, right? When you did, the mana should be split 3 ways. So each one gets 33 1/3. And the Masayim should get split 2 ways, because only 2 women have a ksuba of Masayim, right? Well, exactly, but in the second 100, the woman who has Masayim and the woman who has Shalosh Mesh have an equal shibura, right? Just like the first mana, we say everyone is an equal shibura.
Why should the first one get the full money?
1 second. No one's getting the full mana. The first mana is meshubah to all 3 women, because all 3 women, so you split it 3 ways, right? Wouldn't that be logical? Mm-hmm. The second mana is only meshubah to 2 women, so you split it 2 ways. The third mana is only meshubah to 1 woman, right? So logic would say that the woman who has a ksuba mana should get 33 1/2, right? The woman who has 200 should get 50 plus 33 1/2 is 83 1/2, and the third should get 153 1/2, right? That would be logic, but that's not at all what the Mishnah says. And that's why we have a problem. So what happens if what happens if Hayusham Masayim? So Shalmona Noitelas Chamishim, the woman who had a shibud for only a mana gets 50, and Shal Masayim, the Shal Shalish Meis, they each get 75 each. Shloisha Shal Zov, each din Zov is worth 25. So they get 75, and 75 is 150, plus the 50 of the mana. Why should the first woman, who only is a chiv of mana, why should she get 50? It makes no sense at all. Okay. Zog to Gemara, Zog to Mishnah Vayter, Hayusham Shalosh Meis. What if there were 300 mana available? So then, again, logic would say that the first mana should be split 3 ways, the second mana should be split 2 ways, and the third mana should go only to the woman who's entitled to 300. But that's not what our Mishnah says. So again, the Gemara is going to need to explain it. So the Sholos Mois, then Shalmona Noitelas Chamishim, the woman who only had a mana gets that 50. V'shal Masayim, the woman who had a chub of 200 will take a mana. V'shal Shalosh Meis, and the one who had 300 will get Shisha Shal Zov, which is going to be 150. Well, Gemara is going to explain where this comes from. V'chein, not only does this apply to Ksuba, but it also applies if multiple people put money into an investment. Gimel she'etilu lekis. 3 people put money into a pot, meaning to invest it. Pichsi ay haisiru kachen cholti. If it goes up in value or down in value, we also use these same ratios. So now we're totally bewildered, right? Because logic should dictate that we each take based on how much we put in. So the Gemara is going to have to provide some explanation. Zok to Gemara, Shalmona Noitelas Chamishin, the Mishnah says that if there's 200, then the woman who was only supposed to get a mana gets 50. Frek to Gemara, Tolson the Tulsa who the Isla. We already said the first mana should be split 3 ways, meaning she should get 33 and a third, right? Zok to Gemara, Amar Shmuel. There's a chilik over here. This is a special case because Seves Balos Masayim, the woman who was supposed to get 200 zuz for her ksuba, she wrote a concessionary star to her co-wife. The Balas Mona, she wrote to the Balas Mona as follows: Din udvarm ein li imach b'mona. I will not fight you on your mana. So if you want the one that I'm not going to fight for my share in your mana. Zokt Rashi, din udvarm ein li imach b'mona kishetavoyu ledin. When we go to Din Torah to fight for our fair share of the ksuba, loy arv imcha b'mana hameshubad lach. I will not fight with you about the mana that's meshubad to you, and therefore v'lo yismayit chelkacha b'shvili. Because of me, I don't want your payout to be reduced. That's such a good kasha. Let me just finish Rashi. Right. Zok Gemara hilchach. Therefore, he ibala shalosh shemesh cholkas. So now for the first 100, there's only 2 claiming until it's 50-50. So Moshe is asking, okay, the Kimta works and the split makes some sense. Makes sense. But why couldn't the Mishnah just say a normal case? Right? That's the Ritfos Kasha. Why?
I'm saying 3 women, 300, 11 women is,
So the Ritfos is at simple terms. The Mishnah doesn't like fractions. So the Mishnah didn't want to have to give fractions, 83 and a half, 33 and a half. So the Mishnah, the Tana, manipulated the case to pick an unusual case so that each one's getting whole numbers. I'm sorry? That's the next Mishnah. Okay. Sometimes these Mishnahs remind me of Kugelach. There's 1 Z's, there's 2 Z's, there's 3 Z's, 4 Z's, then comes Al Yad. Okay. Zok to Gemara. Okay, that explains why the Mon is split 50-50. But now let's go to see how the Messiah is split. So what does the Sefer say? How is the next 100 split? Yochi Ema Sefer. Let's check how the next 100 is split. Shol Messiah, Vishal Sholosh Shmois, the person who was supposed to have a ksuba of Messiah, and the woman who was supposed to have a ksuba of 300, Shalosh Shalzov, they each get 75. Why should they get 75? I understand the woman who was Messiah, so she gave up her claim on the first month. But the woman who's supposed to get 300, she never gave anything up. So Tama law let her tell this woman who gave up her rights in the first 100, I should get my full 50, plus I should split with you the second 100. So I should get 100, and you should get 50. Why do we each get 75? You gave up your share in the first 100. I didn't. So why do I have to suffer for that? Zakta Gemara, Mishum de Amr law, because the woman who was supposed to get Messiah, who gave up her rights in the Mana, she said, I never gave up my rights to my ksuba. I just gave up my rights to fight her, but I'm still fighting the estate for my ksuba. So now that I'm not fighting her and I've given up my rights in the first 100, well, in the second 100, I'm fighting for my full rights. And therefore, I'll get 75 and you get 75, and it's split 50-50. Zok the Heilige Rashi, Tema law, which is the last skinny line, Tema law bal sholosh me'os to bal Messiah. Why should I suffer? Hasalikas nafsheich mimena. You've relinquished your claim to the first 100. Therefore, vein lech lechalik el b'mana sheni. You should only have a claim of the mana sheni, and we should split that mana sheni. The Gemara, no. She answers, I didn't give up my rights to the ksuba. I didn't give up my claim on my ksuba on the estate. She didn't take my share. I didn't give her my share. That you could tell me not that you could claim that she took my chelik. No, I didn't give up my chelik. I just said I'm not going to fight you in court on this, but I'm still going to fight fully for my share in court, just not on that section. All I'm doing is I'm not fighting with her about that mana. The gover yada ligvois chatzi mana. Therefore, now since I'm not fighting her on that mana, she will win over me. But it's not that I'm giving up my financial interest. So therefore, the gover yada ligvois chatzi mana b'shibut star because of the shibut of her star. But achshav now anibal lachlak im chabenoisar. Now I want to fight for my full ksuba with all the money that's remaining after she took hers. I didn't say I'm not going to fight with you. I said I'm not going to fight with her. And therefore, in the other 150, we both have an equal claim on. I'm going to get 75, and you're going to get 75. What about the second case? There was a total of 300 zuz, and then once again you have these three women, one who was supposed to get 100, 1, 2, and 1, 3. So there's shibudim for 600, but there's only 300 zuz. So what did our Mishnah say? Our Mishnah said that our Mishnah Shalmana takes 50, the Messiah takes a mana, and the Shalsholish takes 150. And we didn't understand why. So frankly, Gemara, show Messiah Mana, the woman who was supposed to get Messiah, she gets a Mana. Why should she get a Mana? Shivim v'chamisha hu de Isla. She should only get 75. Why should she only get 75? Because let's think about it. We have, she has no shaykhs to the third 100. Right? That's out of the question. To the question of the second 100. Well, on the second 100, we already said she has claimed half, and the other one is the woman for 3 has a claim for half. So that 150 should be divided in 2, and she should get 75, just like in the earlier case.
Why doesn't she have shaykhs to 300?
Because her shibud is only for 200. She only has shibud of 200.
Yeah, but do with what's in the front. Let's do what she would do.
Right.
Whatever it is to get her shibud, doesn't make a difference.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Hold it, because we're going to see now how this comes apart. Okay, so Zok the Gemara. In other words, I have a shibud to get 200 from any asset that's there. So I have just as much of a connection. But the thing is when we're fighting, we look at each 100 at a time, how to split it 3 ways. So whatever you have a claim in, I have a claim in. But I have a claim in something that you don't have a claim in. So let's see Rashi. Look, Rashi, Ayin Hehu de Isla, based on what we just said in the Resha, that of the second 100, she should get 75. So Akiva do Kimna, because Shevis Balas Messiahim, since we just said a moment ago that the woman who was supposed to get 200 told the first woman who only was supposed to get a mana, I'm not going to fight you on your mana. So then, Ein lo lachlik me'ato ela b'mei v'chamisha. So out of the next 150, she gets half, as we said in the ratio. Aval b'mana shlishi ein lakum. She should not have a claim in the mana shlishi. She should not have a claim in the mana shlishi. So the svara is, you're right. If she's the only one there, she has access to all his assets. But if we're comparing her rights to their rights, everybody will agree that on the 100, on the first 100, there's 3 women that are disputing it. On the second 100, there's 2 women who are disputing it. And on the third 100, there's no dispute. So that's why the Gemara is saying that once we're over and above the amount that she's disputing, she doesn't have a claim in it anymore.
Think about it, the question would be also on the first one. As long as she doesn't get her 100, she has a claim on the whole part.
Yeah. What you're saying would apply equally there. But in fact, that's not how the Gemara assesses it. And it's going to come clear in the Gemara's second teretz. But first, we're dealing with the Gemara's first teretz. So the Gemara's first teretz is, why are you changing the distribution of the second woman who had Mosayim between the first case and the second case? In either case, you should be getting 75 because the first 50 is out of the question. Now there's another 150. The remaining 50 of the first 100, and the second 100, that's 150. Out of that 150, she's fighting with the woman who's entitled to 300. So that should go halfway, 75, 75. Yet we're giving her 100. Why are we giving her 100? Zok to Gemara, because the second case is actually different than the first case. Zok to Gemara, the second case is Mishum the Amr law. I'm sorry, I went back in the Gemara. So Frank the Gemara, Shomasayim, Mana, it should be Shivim Bechamisha the Isla, Amr Shmuel, because Sevis Baal Shalosh Meos. The second case is not speaking where the woman who was supposed to get 200 gave up her rights, because in fact, we would say she only got 75. But the second case is speaking where the woman who was supposed to get 300, she gave up her rights to the first 100. But Gesevis Bal Shalosh Meyos Labalas, because Sevis Bal Shalosh Meyos Labalas Mosayim Ulabalas Mona Dinu Dvorm Ein Li Imachem B'Mona. The woman who was supposed to get 300 told the other 2 women, I'm not going to fight with you about the first Mona. So now the first Mona gets split 50-50 between the first 2 women. So right off the bat, the woman who was supposed to get Messiah has 50 guaranteed, because there's no dispute of a third party in that first 100. Now, when it comes to the next 100, she also has a 50% claim on the second 100. So we split that 50-50. So that nets the woman who was supposed to get 200, it nets her 100. 50 of the first 100, which is only fighting with the first lady, and 50 of the second 100, which is only fighting with the third lady. And the third lady gets 150.
What did the third lady think?
The third lady told the second lady and the first lady, you know what, I'm not fighting about the first one. So now there's only 2 people fighting for the first one. So it goes 50-50. The second one, there's also 2 people fighting, right? 2 and 3. So she gets another 50. So that means the woman who was supposed to get 200 ended up with 100. And the woman who's supposed to get 300 gets half of the second 100, which is 50, and all of the third 100, which is 100. So she walks away with 150.
En wat even wat Gunsch geschreven, dan moet ze gedacht.
Everything will be split evenly. Well, when Gunsch given, would be so much simpler. Then on the first 100, you split 3 ways. The second 100, you split 2 ways. And the third 100, you don't split it all. So they asked earlier, if a Fuss sich the Mishnah is a verdreit the case, zuk normal. So the Fuss says, because the Mishnah doesn't like fractions. The Mishnah does not like dealing with fractions. They're too complicated. We look at Yosy, for us, fractions not a big deal. But under the mention, fractions is too challenging for them. Because of that, they don't want to talk about fractions.
It's ratio, which is fraction.
Right. So the Gemara don't want to deal with fractions. The Gemara want to
This is what's the provided debt.
Yeah, you'd have to. So that's why the Mishnah was matriach itself to find a case where you could avoid fractions. It's similar to what many cashiers would do if they would be able to, because they can't figure out your change.
Oh, no rounding now.
I taught the Russian boy, so because jede Mishnah is a master. Is a simple case. I come around to this time Shiva, and somebody comes in and they ask, the Shiva, can I come and make them agree?
It happened in Chaim Moshe.
Sure, so bekend de master nitzach. So alle Mishnahs zijn een azelige master zijn een moet geschehen en jij not zurückgeschrieben. Maar nog in slaven gelijk een kap.
I'm going to tell my children that if you don't want to learn math because it's too hard, I'm telling you it's going to make the Gemara even harder. Better learn fractions, and then the Gemara will be much easier.
I taught fractions.
You learn fractions. If the Talmidim would have learned fractions, they'd have learned the clue, the Talmud would have made an easier case. Okay, Zok the Gemara weiter. Amar Shmuel b'Kesubos Baal Shalosh Meis l'Baal Masayim Ula Baal Asmona Dinu Dvarim Ein Li Machen the Mana. So the first one is disputed by 1 and 2. The second one is disputed by 2 and 3, and the third one is exclusively to the 3. Now, Rabbi Yaakov ben Hakapagoid Mishmei Ravina has a whole different shot, and here it gets a little complicated. So let's think. Amar, he said as follows: Reisha. So again, in the Reisha, what did we say? The first woman gets 50, and then the second and the third split up the remaining 150, and they each get 75. So that was the first case. The first case was there was only Masayim to split up amongst the 3 women. So Zok Gemara, this was the case. Reisha b'shtei tfisas. In the Reisha speaking, where the money came in 2 shifts. So what happened was first, we'll see exactly how it's broken down. Reisha b'shtei tfisas, v'sefer b'shtei tfisas, and the sefer is also speaking where the money came in 2 shifts. So Reisha b'shtei tfisas as follows: first, the estate at the time of the death, the estate only had 75. The naflu shivin v'chamisha v'chadzivna. So let's think about it. Right now, there's only 75 in the estate. There's 3 women fighting for it. They each have an equal share in that. So that goes 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So each woman ends up with 25, right? And then what happens is umeya v'esrim v'chamisha v'chadzivna. And then later on, after these women already split the 75 3 ways, another 125 showed up into the estate. So let's think about it. The first woman, she got paid 25 out of her 100, right? So she's owed 75. So her 75, she still has a claim of 75 on the incoming 125, right? So the other 2 also have at least that much. So what we do is we take another $75 and we split it 3 ways. Okay? Now the first woman is out of the picture because she already expired any shibut she had. Because her shibut for 75 got her only 25. So she got 50 and now she's out the door. Okay? Now you have
What was her original sugar was 100?
her original was 100 and she got 50 out of it. But she only got 50 out of it because the money came in 2 shifts. So now that she got herself her 50, you have 125 minus 75 is 50, because now there's only 50 left. That 50 is going to be split 50-50 between 2 and 3. So they end up with 75 and she ends up with 50. So that was that case. So the was and the Seifa is as follows. It's also b'shtei tzitzos. So first, when they had their first split was the naflu shivim v'chamisha v'chadzivna. So that's the same thing. They each get 25. But on the second dump, they got umasayim v'eshrim v'chamisha. They got, instead of 125, they got 225 v'chadzivna. So let's think about it. Out of the 225, you take 75 right off the top. So now they each have 50, and now you have 150 remaining. Out of the 150 remaining, the woman who was entitled to the 200, she'll have a claim. Let's think what happened. After she got her 50, she still has a claim of
175 left in the pot.
She has 175 after the first collection. So after the first collection, she was originally owed 200. She got 25, right? From the first 75, she got 25. Now she has a claim of 175.
Not 175, just a claim of 125.
Well, you said there was 225 in the
Let's
second
talk-
dollar.
let's talk about it. In the first round of splitting, she only got 25.
Out of 75.
I don't know. Right. So now she's still owed 175, but she's still owed 175. But the question is, what does she have a claim on?
Right.
What assets are available for her to claim from? So she still can claim from not 125. She could 125. She could still claim from that 125. Because why? Because there was only 75 so far that were split up. Okay, so let's see Rashi to do the cheshbon. I'm getting a little confused. This is a little confusing. So let's see Rashi. Seifa b'shtei tvitzos. So I'm the first wide line. I'm on the first super wide line of Rashi. Seifa b'shtei tvitzos u'masayim be'esrim b'chamisha b'chadzimra. The second dump was 225. So ayin hey minayu 75 of this 225 yad kulon shavin bay. Everybody still has equal access to.
Not the first lady.
Yeah,
The first lady also does because she still has a claim of 75, and there's not
The total was 100.
So
and
right.
75 was already Meshubah.
No,
They split it three ways.
no, but you're not
25.
giving them out to 25, so she has still a claim on 75. Yeah, yes.
So let's see.
It's not fair.
When it comes to the claim, her claim is limited. Right. So let's see what Rashi says. So Zok Rashi, ayin hey minayu 75 out of the 225 yad kulon shavim bay. We'll put Matis Kasha aside for a second. But yad kulon shavim bay, they each have a right to mon. And the svara is because she still has a claim of 75. She still has a claim of 75, although she might not have what to claim from, but she does have 25 available of credit, because we only liquidated 75 so far, so she still has rights in the next bunch. Her rights are 75. So
What you did the first
what?
case.
No.
Do that.
No, she has a right. She has the estate owes her 75. She might only have $25 left of access to capital, but we'll give her that 25. So since she has some connection, she gets a 25.
So this is
So, right.
from the
So-
one,
so
from
the-
the 225.
So therefore, from the 225, the first woman still gets 25, okay, and the other two get 25 because they all have chelik. So now we're down to 150, right? Now we're down to 150 because out of 225, we've just distributed another 75, right? Okay, so now we're down to 150. So I'm now Yad Kul Shabbos Boy, Ubalos Masayim, the woman who was supposed to get 200, Shaloi Gavsa Betfisa Rishayna Ela Esrim B'Chamisha. At the end of the first distribution, she only got 25, meaning Ba Loriv Al Shnia Al Kufaine. Out of the second set, she's trying to get 175. She won't have a right to 175, but that's ideally what she's trying to get. Upalgi Ayin Hey Ben Shloshtem. Then what we did is we split the first 75 out of the 225 three ways. The Nimta Biyat Kolachas Chamish. So now each woman has 50. The woman who was entitled to a monah, all of her rights have expired, so she has no shaykhs. She goes with her 50, and that's all she gets. Now we have to see how this woman gets a monah. The second woman, she also has 50. So how did she get another 50? Because right now we have 150 left, right? And she still has a claim of 175, right? So therefore, we'll take the next 100 and we'll split the next 100 two ways because she's disputing because she was to get 200. All right, so she has a claim of 150. Right. So there's still $150 of credit that she has, and she has a right. She has a right to 100 of that, and therefore she gets to split that with the Bala Shloish. So therefore she'll get 50 of that. Now she has a total of 100. The third lady gets the last 50 all to herself. So she'll end up with 200. So she'll end up with 150. Right. So therefore, so for them to get kolachas chamishim, and then on the top he sticks in the chamishim umeya bein balas masayim ubalas shalosh meyos, and then the remaining 150, where there's now a fight between the balas masayim and the balas shalosh meyos, they'll split that 100 in half. The chatzi meyosh and nishar, and the last 50 is going to be kula lebalas shalosh meyos. That'll go exclusively to the woman who was entitled to 300. Nimtzes shalmona, the woman who was originally only entitled to a mana, No, tell us Chamishim. She walked away with 50 because she got 25 in each of the two distributions. Vishal Masayim, the woman who was supposed to get 200, she ended up with a mana. Vishal Shalish Meis, and the woman who was supposed to get 300, Kuf Nun, she'll end up with 150. And that's a total of, she said dinar reserve, because 150 mana is 6 dinar reserve, because each dinner is worth 25. Half of what their claim was. So let's do this again, because Mati's puzzled, and I'm also puzzled. So let's figure this out again.
Forget this first case.
I'm sorry? The first case is good. It started off with 75. So right off the bat, that goes 3 ways. So that's easy, right? Now this woman who is owed a mana still has a claim on the estate. She still has a claim on the estate.
For what?
Well,
For 25 or 75?
75.
she's 75 on the estate, but she only has a shibud left of 25. So therefore, when the next batch comes, we'll give her that 25. And we'll give the other 225. So now
One second. What was the second piece? What was the second?
125.
125.
So we'll take 75 of that 125 because all 3 of them still has a connection group.
She gets 25.
So she'll get 25. Now we're left with 50. The 50 will be split 50-50 between the next 2 claimants. So this is the same thing. So when the application is 225, so we did 2 rounds of 75. After we did 2 rounds of 75, the second woman still has a claim.
1 second. After you did the second round of 75, bleibt noch 150 in this state.
There's 150
So
days.
jetzt now, yeah. So why doesn't the balance 200 and the balance 300 split that in half?
The territories, because the Balas Messiah does not have access to the full 150. She only has a claim on 100 of that 50.
Why not? Why?
Well, she already.
I understand the case, but I'm going to play this off
No,
from
but-
this case.
So she already got 50, right?
Right.
So she's owed 150, right? She owed 150.
And you have here 150.
Yeah,
So
but-
Kim Toes, as she has a claim on this 150, the same way as the balance 300 has on the 100.
Not really, because we discount her claim based on how much money she took already.
She
And
took
she already
only
did 50.
150.
No, she took already 50. She
Right.
took already 50.
So
So
Kim
that
Toes-
reduces her claim on the estate by 50. Right?
She's 200.
Right.
She's 150.
She has a claim on 150 now.
No, but we also reduce her shibud.
So ich habe gedacht,
She actually loses her shibud on 150. She reduces her shibud on
You
150.
didn't do that for the first lady.
No.
You're doing it now for the second lady.
this is the machst nicht the same cash yet.
Okay, so let's think about this a second.
Ich habe getracht, Efshin.
We did it for the first lady.
When it came in the second piece, it came in 225. Kim Toes, as on the last 25, hat sich nicht geschafft.
You got a freedom.
That's
So let's break it down a second. Let's deal with the first case. The first case is where the first visa was 75. It went 3 ways, right? Now this woman still has $75. The first woman still has a claim of 75 on the estate, but as far as her shibud is concerned, she used up already 75 of shibud. Because on the first 75, there was a 3-way claim.
Why in the second claim does she get?
So let me just work through. I'm thinking it through together. So when it comes to the second claim, since she has a claim still of 75, right? She still has a claim of 75 because she only got 25. So that means on the next 75 that's available, she'll have
She's above double.
she's a baldover. That's where she gets 25, right? Once she expends that, she's still owed 50, but she lost because she used up her shibud. So there's 2 things. There's what totally owed her and what part of the shibud she could tap into. So then let's apply that to the second woman. We first came with 75, so the second woman got 25, right? So now she only has a shibud left of 175, right? Now when they do the second round, she's still in the game because she still has shibud left, and she got another 25, right? Now we're down to 150. We're down to 150, but we're down to 150, which the total estate owes her, but she already disputed her share of 150. right? So now, she,
You're working with both, that's the thing. You're
right,
working with both. You have to have.
both things come inside what you totally owed and say how much of her shibud she used up. So she already used up 150 of shibud. So she only has 50 of shibud left. So she has 50 of shibud left.
Only be looking
And
at
that
what
50
she got, then the first lady should have a time.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So you can't only look what she got. Yeah, she's using up her shibud. So she used up already 150 of shibud. So now she only has 50 of shibud left. And in that, she's entitled to take 50.
Any amount of shibud left, then she's still in the game.
That's right.
If there's no.
Exactly. So any amount of shibud left, then she's still in the game to take where she's fully owed. So she's fully owed 100, she gets 50, and the other guy gets, the third lady gets 50. Then she used up any shibud that she has, and therefore the third lady gets the final 50.
Yes, on the first question, the first statement is always take the 75 and divide it.
Because 3 women have a claim to that $75.
Excuse me, you owe $1 million, they owe me 10, we're gonna split whatever is available?
Yeah. Exactly.
No, we're not talking about nights over here.
We're talking about halacha.
No, what I'm saying is the sheep.
Yeah, because I have on that $100, I have the same claim as you.
No, you don't. You have 1/10 of it, the same way that you.
No, you have a claim on more assets, but on the asset that I have a claim on, my claim is just as strong as you.
All 3 women should have.
So you're looking at it like a bankruptcy court where you get 10 cents to the dollar, but that's not how the Gemara looks at it. The Gemara looks at it is whatever money I have a shibud on, I have the same rights to it as you do, even though you're owed so much more. But up to what I'm owed, I have the same right as you. That's how the Gemara looks at it.
Until somebody's paid off.
Correct.
Somebody
Correct. Correct. That's what the Gemara looks at. Not like a typical bankruptcy court. But don't worry, it's going to get even better. It's going to get even better. So Zok the Gemara, Tanya, we learned, Zu Mishnus Reb Nosson. Now, this is what Reb Nosson said. But Rebbe Yomer, Ein Ani Roye Dvar of Shah Reb Nosson. I don't like this pshat. Be'elu, and these halachas, elacholkos b'shachar. Everything gets splitted equally all the time, which is really what Akiva wants to say. Now, the Rif.
I'm saying based on your ratio of your claim.
So here it's cholkos b'shachar here does not mean based on your ratio. Actually, let's see Rashi. Any roya dvar shablos be'elu she'ein zed daima l'shloisha she'tilu l'kis. This isn't like 3 people who are investing. The hasam shvach moy sheshbichu moy seim shakli. Each one will take what their money brought in to the investment. That's how it would work in an investment. When it comes to Kesuba, it's all about Shibud. All of the Nechasim are Meshubah to Kesuba, which really is what Mati was saying all along. That's what you were saying. All of the Nechasim are Achroy Kesuba, even over and above my amount that I want. She has a claim in all the money, which is exactly what Moti was telling from the beginning, right? So he owes, they always split it evenly. Why? Because I have rights in all the money, to get even much less that I'm entitled to. The Rif actually says, normally the Rif is very short. There's a long shtickle Rif here, and he says, this Gemara was so difficult to understand, and there's so many pshatim and rishonim. Because of that, I'm going to just say it's always cholkos b'shava, and I have strong support because that's what Rebbe said. So the Rif Paskin, since all these cheshbonis are just too complicated, and we have difficulty understanding them, how far my shibud extends, and therefore the Rif Paskin is always cholkos b'shava. So the fact that it's a little mud how the shibudim are allotted, the Rif also had it for a shverkeit, and he said you always focus b'shava. The difference is he understood it with clarity, and he wanted it better.
He's very wise. He must be a gazillionaire or he's poor broke.
Okay, so now let's go on to the next one.
One second.
I think we what number 2 is the access, right? The first one, how much you make it afford on the cruise?
But he married them all the same day. Yeah, he married them all the same day. That's one shot. Actually, the shot of the showing we didn't marry them all the same day, but he bought all his properties the same day. So because of that, nobody has a prior claim on it. Okay. Zok to the more.
About Shloiba Chrayas means Taker, that he bought it for much cheaper.
Right. That's right. I know exactly. Zok to more. Omar Shmuel. So now we're talking about an investment. Akiva, this is going to freak you out. An investment. Omar Shmuel. Shnayim she'tilu l'kis. Two people got together on an investment. Zeh money v'zeh masayim. One person put in double what the other one put in. So if it goes up, who should get more of the profits? The guy who put in double. The Gemara doesn't say that. Haschar le'emtza. They split it 50-50. Cholkin b'shova. Zokt Rabba. Mistabra milsei de Shmuel. This halacha that Shmuel says, where it's 50-50 is b'shor lecharisha v'oimid lecharisha. What did they invest in? They bought a shore that was going to be used for charisha. And Rashi explains this the logic. Shalakhu b'hen shor lachrosh v'chorshin boy. And that's their profit, the charisha. The ein chelko shel zeh moel v'lo chelko shel klum. Yes, you might have put more money into it, but without me, you have nothing because you need my half of the ox. So therefore, I get half the profit. Hilchach chelkin b'shaveh. So I'm not sure why one guy would put in more, but that's what happened. But what if they bought a shor lecharisha? Well, what happened was the cost of meat went up so much that they said, let's shecht it, because we'll make way more profit by shechting the meat than zen noita l'fi moisav, zen noita l'fi moisav. Because once you're chopping up the animal, you don't need by chelik in order for your chelik to have an advantage. By charisha, the whole animal's got to be alive. Every labor is needed. But when you're chopping it up, so then the person who invested more, of course, gets more of the meat. For Rav Hamnuna Amar,
What was this agreement? I didn't know we put in money.
you couldn't afford a whole ox, and I couldn't afford a whole ox. So you put in what you had, I put in what I had, and then we split the profits. That's fair.
Yeah, what's the bought it for?
No, I didn't. I'm taking a piece of meat.
But then after the shchit.
So let's go back to Rav Hamnuna Amar. Afilu shor lecharisha.
The eerste department, you can stand for Antigon. You take it for.
No, maybe we rented it out, and the money that came in we split. Rav Hamnuna Amar. Afilu shor lecharisha. V'omer letvicha hashar haschar leemtza. Even if you ended up shechting it, it's still a schar leemtza. It's always a schar leemtza. So when you invest, you're probably not going to want to invest more than other guys. What? Meisvei. So Frek Gemara Kasha. We're going to show you that it's not like that. Zog to Gemara. Shnaim she'tilu l'kis. Zemona v'zemosai. I believe, is that a brisa or is that our Mishnah? No, it's a brisa. So Shnaim she'tilu l'kis. Zemona v'zemosai. Haschar is lemta.
What if the loss, the ox died? Who did they split it? Now the ox, is it also evenly split? So I put it in 100.
Very good kasha. So we're going to get to that. So that's my love, b'shor lecharisha, v'omer letvicha. Let's say that even by shor lecharisha, the brisa doesn't specify the case. So let's say it's even the case of shor lecharisha, v'omer letvicha, and it says a schar le'emtza, but Shmuel said that it wouldn't be a schar le'emtza. It would be zen not l'fi moisav, zen not l'fi moisav. So you have a brisa that's shver on Shmuel, utiyufta the Rabbah. It's shver on Rabbah. Where's Rabbah? Rabbah was talking about the Shmuel. Right. Rabbah was the one who said that Shmuel's halacha that a schar le'emtza is only if it's l'shchita, only if it's l'charisha. But if it's l'shchita, then ezelf not l'fi moisav. But from the brisa, it's mashal not like that. So we're loy. We'll make a new kimter. This brisa that says you always split it 50-50 is only if it's being used for charisha. Aval shor lecharisha v'amin my, are you saying zen noitel l'fi moisav? Zen noitel l'fi moisav? Is that how you, Rabbi, will learn this brisa? Let's look at the next case of the brisa, who went to a far-fetched case to find the case where it would be zen noitel l'fi moisav, zen noitel l'fi moisav. At the Tani Seifa, lokach zeh b'shaloi v'zeh b'shaloi. What if there are two investors? One put in a mana, one put in a Masayim, but they didn't buy behemoths together. The guy with the Masayim bought a group of great animals, and the guy who had only a mana bought weaker animals. And what happened was when this arvu and the animals got mixed together. So how do you split the profits up? Zen noitel lefi ma'osav. The person who put in 200 will give him more of the profit based on. He'll get 2/3 of the profit. And the guy who put in less will get 1/3 of the profit. So, frankly, why do you need to go to such a far-fetched case to find a case where they're going to take, according to their investment, live like the list of the day? The way you, Rabbi, are learning the brisa, I could find a case that's much closer to the case of the ratio, where you also say that everybody gets out based on what they put in. And they could have said, where do we say it's always split down the middle? Dash b'shor lecharisha, v'aymed lecharisha. Aval b'shor lecharisha, v'aymed letvicha, zeh noit lefi moisav, zeh noit lefi moisav, and you have to go to another case of when they bought multiple animals, they got mixed up. Zok to Gemara, you know what? That's really what the Brisa means to say. Hachanami kamar. When you say it's 50-50, it's b'shor lecharisha, v'aymed lecharisha. Aval b'shor lecharisha, v'aymed letvicha. What if it's a shor lecharisha? And it's Amil Tvicha, Nasikami, that's considered separate investments. Nasikami, Shalokach Zeb Shaloi, Vizeb Shaloi, Vinisargo. And what would Allah be in that case? One of the Rishonim throws in a thought, I put in more, so why shouldn't I be entitled to more of the profits? So you write that the mazel of each person is goyim. Each of the mazels are 50-50.
You don't know who's.
Yep. You don't know whose mazel brought this success.
Tell me that when the mutual fund doesn't go well, it's my mazel.
I think that the only thing is the way I look at it, I can kinda, even though I put it less, that my mazel was contributed to more of the profit. And in fact, the guy who put more money has less mazel.
That was the story with Rappaport.
The purpose of the money. What's that?
That was the story of Rappaport.
The what?
They wanted to get rid of Rappaport.
Right, yeah, sure.
And they went to the Rebbe to ask him,
What to do?
did they want to go out?
Right.
And the Rebbe told us, listen, do what you want. But I'm telling you, you never know who's responsible.
Is carrying it. Wow. So Zok Gemara, just the bells are everything.
No.
The Rebbe, some Kubanim, how is this Rebbe so rich? But jeder Investor ist reich. Und man hat gesagt, wir werden Maschit. Ja, im Schal Maschit mit der Rebbe. So jeder eines Toilers ist der Rebbe Schitz, but the Masse is cash.
Zok Gemara, Zok Gemara weiter. Tatanan Knan Milur. V'chein shloisha shetilukis. What if there's 3 investments? Pachsui oyay siri. If the investment went up in value or went down in value, pachsui siri kach. That's how they split it up. So that means it's saying that instead of splitting it up evenly, instead of it going 50-50, they split it up evenly. So that's going to be akasha, my love, pachsoi mamish, harsira mamish. And what is it saying? Bekatoni, kachin chalkin lefi amois. Utyofta the Shmuel, it's going to slug up Shmuel, because Shmuel said that you don't go lefi ma'osav, everybody gets equal. Yet from the Lashon Brisa, it's mashma that kachin chalkin, based on how much money they put in, that's how much money they get out. And Shmuel said it doesn't matter how much money they put in, you always split it equally. It doesn't mean the investment went up in value. Because if the investment went up in value, avada, that's 50-50. Or if there's 3 investors, each one gets a third. And you don't say the person who put in more money gets a bigger ratio to profits. What this price means when it says paksoi or yesiru, it's split equally, that's zuzachadati, meaning the investment did not go up in value at all. But since they were buying stuff with the money that they put in and selling stuff with the money, if they originally put in coins that weren't so easy to spend, they weren't such popular coins. And now, because they were buying and selling, now the coins that they have are better coins. So that's really the carrot still. On the everybody agrees. And it's also important to note, when we're talking about splitting the profits evenly, that doesn't mean we split the whole pot evenly. I get out what I invested, you get out what you invested, which I'm going to get much more if I put in more. The profits get split evenly. But of course, the Karen, we each get out what we put in. So here too, we're talking about it's just a Karen. But in fact, the Karen itself became better because it's a newer coin. That's what the Brisa means when the Brisa says that if it went up, they split it according to how much they put in. It doesn't mean if the investment made profit. It means if now the coins that are there that represent your initial amount, but they're better coins, so that each guy gets those coins. So each one ends up with better coins according to how many he put in. And Pachsu means the steer the Tunisa. The profit is still split equally between 3 investments. So at the end of the day, if there's profit, that goes split equally between the three parties. But if there's no profit, and we're talking about the Karen, but the Karen now changed from this type of coin to that type of coin, well, everybody gets back coins. So yes, everyone's going to get. If I put in 100 bad coins, I'm going to get back 100 good coins. You put in 200 bad coins, you'll get back 200
It's
good
still
coins.
a ratio. It's still.
There it's a ratio because it's not talking about the profit. The profit split evenly. Zok to Gemara weiter.
Is it?
Look at the Mishnah.
Halachically incorrect to make a deal the other way? This is in the case.
No, I'm sure if you this is all stuff. If you specify, I'm sure things would be different. So Zok Gemara, Misha you know so dalad nashim. What do you want to know what happens by 4? Somebody wanted to know. So now we show you dalad nashim. And the next word of the Mishnah, I don't even know why it kind of needs to say it. Umeis. The Gemara asks pshita. The Gemara says that's pshita. Right?
Yeah, convenient.
Misha you know so dalad nashim umeis. Harishayna kademis l'shmiya. The first wife who he married first, of course, has rights in the estate before the second. Ushniya l'shlishis, ushlishis l'revius. No, this is where they didn't get married at the same time. Yeah. Okay, so Zok to Gemara, Rishayna nishbas l'shniya. The first one has to swear to the shniya. Why? Because when the first one is taking the assets, it's to the detriment of the second wife. So the second wife could say, okay, you're taking it to my detriment, at least swear that our late husband, didn't pay you in cash, and you don't have your tzuba already. So she has to swear to the second, but the revius, there's no one for her to swear from, because by the time she comes, everybody got paid in full. So it's not to the detriment of anybody. So therefore, nifrash shaloi b'shua. Didn't we have a rule that whenever you're money from nichse yisoimim, you have to make a shvua? So it could be she doesn't have to swear to the other wives, but why doesn't she have to swear to the assignment? So Rashi says, "Al v'lerevius nefrash haloi b'ksuba uchagoyin sheyisoimim gedolim." The Yisayim were adults at that point because Suffer Haitana and this time would hold Ki Amur Rabbanon Haboli for Minichsi Yisayim Lo Yifrela B'Shvua. That's B'Yisayim Ketanim Amur. So the reason why she doesn't have to swear to the Yisayim is because our Tana holds that the Yisayim are adults. There's no swear required. Benana says V'chim Ipnei Shiach Roina Niskeres. Just because she's the last, she should benefit, which is a funny kasha because she's in the last position. Who said she'll be able to take? So therefore, Afilo Sefer Elo B'Shvua. The Gemara is going to explain what that means. So the Gemara is going to come up with a case where she will impact one of the previous wives. For instance, if one of the previous wives' karka that she took to claim on the ksuba ended up getting repossessed. So now it impacts the earlier wives. We'll see the Gemara.
Because she came in last. So
we'll see. So how you yoytze is kula b'yamechad?
Case that the shvua in the first one, unless I'm missing something, you should also make the shvua that one of them paid off on the.
They do. They all have to.
No, in the first mission, when he married them at the same time.
When you marry at the same time, no one has precedence over the other.
Yeah, but they weren't paid off earlier.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point. So it could be if they would all have to swear to each other, it'll all be Michael the Shua. No, they're all on equal footing. But you're right. Technically, I was just saying, right? What if they all got married the same day? So they all have the same shiva on the same day. Then if there's a timestamp on their marriage, well then, she got married first. Then invite her shiva first. If the kachal yikosim Yerushalayim shows, I guess in Yerushalayim people married multiple wives the same day, like the Rambam says it's a good thing to do. So they actually have to timestamp the marriage to see who has the earlier shiva. What if they all got married at the same time? Then chalkois b'shava. What is the machlokes whether or not the fourth woman has to swear? Amar Shmuel kegoyin shenimtzas achas men sada shenishaloi. Let's say the third woman took a sada that got repossessed because it wasn't her husband's. So now she's out of field. Now the revius already took already. So now she'll get nothing. So that's why even when the revius takes, she could make the revius swear that she didn't get, because it's possible sometime in the future I'll lose my field and now I won't be able to get after your field because you have it already. So for that I can make you swear. Shekadam, the Gava committee, there's a machlokes if what happens if a later Bachoy went and took first, right? So you have over here, the fourth lady took, does she automatically lose it or does she get to keep it? So if she gets to keep it, then the third has the right to make the fourth swear. But if she can go repossess the fourth at that time, then there would be no reason for a swear. Okay, we'll stop here with Mamshech tomorrow. Are we going to continue to learn on Shabbos afternoon
Yes.
as it gets earlier? Like I'm happy to learn Shabbos afternoon.
We did.